Now I read about a third of Fleishman is in Trouble. I've seen 3 episodes of the
Okay,
series, and it's a fairly faithful adaptation.
it sure
You're
is.
obviously the writer of both, but you kind of had to remix things. The book isn't as episodic as the series is. How big of a challenge was that? Did you have to make like a huge roadmap of where all the pieces fit?
1,000%. It was the hardest. It was the hardest part of it. And I was very lucky to have executive producing partners who are just savants at this, Sarah Timberman and Susanna Grant. And I also initially had a mini room with people who had done this before, Boo Killebrew, Cindy Shupak, Mike Goldbach, and Allison P. Davis. And they were all helpful in telling me best practices for how to divide something, what makes an episode versus what would make um, one of those shows that's just a book cut into 8 parts or 10 parts. And I was really lucky. I took everyone's advice.
Were there things that you had thought of after you wrote and published the book that this was an opportunity to include, or did a lot of things come up in the writers' room that were like, this is more visual, that this makes more sense for TV versus written?
It wasn't a writer's room because I wrote 7 of the 8 episodes. It was this mini room. We didn't get to that sort of minute detail of those things, but we had these ideas for plots that were not from the book, ultimately didn't make it in, but were outrageously loyal to the ideas of the book. And ultimately, there was no room to do much more than the book. But from that room came some ideas and some sentences and some wild notions that I was very grateful to include. But mostly, it was, I'm very good at one of my great skills as a writer is knowing when a thing is over. And when Fleischman, the book, was published, I put it out of my head and stopped thinking about it until
Is Libby very much modeled after you,
I
or
mean,
where?
biographically she is, and she speaks in my voice, but they all kind of do. Like, I remember saying at a book event once that it's a good thing that people mistake me for Libby because I think that if they didn't, they would mistake me for Rachel, which is, or Toby, which is a whole other thing. I think that every character you write is a little piece of you. I know people who object to even being asked that question. And how could he object to that? As if it's a virtue to make things up out of whole cloth. No, it's a virtue, I think, to reflect life.
Obviously this cast is incredible. You've got top talent. Um, I don't know if you'd ever thought like, what if someday Fleischman is in Trouble becomes a film or a TV show? But did you have any sway or any pull in the cast, or was this just like a total blessing that these big names wanted to be a part of this?
Did I have any sweat? Like I was part of the casting process. I was an executive producer on the show. So yes, these were the people we wanted. These were the only people we wanted. But no, when I was writing it, they were very faceless. And when I was writing the book, they were very faceless and, and they had vibes more than they had actual features to me. But no, in the end, the minute we started this, there were only these people that we wanted. We we were so lucky to get them. And the thing that everyone in this everyone who's part of the process says to me is don't get used to this. No one had ever seen a group of people get every single person they wanted. So I was really lucky. And maybe I'm
Well,
also a witch.
well, congratulations. Thank you
Thank
again
you
for
so
your
much.
time.
I
The show's
appreciate it.
fantastic, and thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Keep watching it.